So you've got a business. But what about a brand? The difference? More of you. Wix gives you the freedom to create your website, own your brand, and do it on your own, exactly how you envisioned it. Experience limitless customization. Boost your creativity and efficiency with AI tools for every part of your business journey. Scale up with built-in SEO, e-com, and scheduling features. Put more of you in your business. Go to Wix.com and do it all yourself.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. We're your hosts, John and Kristen Barber, and today we're here right up at the buzzer in the lead up to the WNBA 2025 season with our final season snapshot, looking at the New York Liberty and how they shape up going into this year. Before we get into all the details about the changes made in New York, Kristen, how are you?
Hi, John. I'm great.
She's great.
I'm so excited for the season tomorrow.
Yes.
Finally, it's back. It feels like years.
Doesn't it feel like a really long time since we've watched like a W game?
Right. I mean, yeah, Unrivaled was different. It feels like so long.
But it's been like 6 months. It's been a long 6 months, I guess.
Yeah.
We needed more hoops.
A long winter. A long, dreary winter.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so excited. We are looking so forward to these games tomorrow. I'm very also excited to do fantasy this year. Shout out to everyone who has joined our fantasy leagues.
Yes.
We're doing a dynasty type league with some people that we know. Mm-hmm. And then we opened up a new typical fantasy league with some new people. So good luck to everyone there. If you've never done fantasy before, it's kind of overwhelming at first, but you'll get the hang of it. Mm-hmm. It's just so much fun to be able to pick your faves.
Yes.
And learn some new faves who are on your team. Like you'll randomly just like be a Sammy Whitcomb stan.
You.
As I was last year. Uh-huh. She was on my team every other day.
Correct.
So it's going to be a very fun season.
Yes, I love it. I love fantasy. I love getting to learn these players just that much better and have more reason to watch all of these games. Just gut check for you right at the top. There's 3 games tomorrow. I want you to tell me which one you're most interested in because we're going to lock in. We're going to have a nice dinner and then we're going to watch some W. Atlanta versus Washington, Minnesota versus Dallas, or LA versus Golden State. Which one is like, oh, that's so appealing to me?
I think Minnesota versus Dallas.
Yeah.
Is that the chalk answer?
I think it's the chalk answer.
I mean, Minnesota's the best team of that bunch. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see that team come back together, to see Courtney Williams, Nafisa Collier play, and then to be able to see Paige Beckers play for her real first game.
Yes. Yeah, in a high leverage situation, playing W ball. Yeah, that's got to be the pick for me too. But I am excited to watch. I was almost going to say my Atlanta Dream. I can't do that because I don't have a team, but I'm just excited to watch BG ripping threes from beyond the arc, watching my GOAT Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard. I'm excited. I'm excited for all three of the games, and I hope to watch them all. So if you're new here, welcome. Happy to have you for Attack the Baseline as we get ready for the 2025 WNBA season. If you would like to reach out to us and let us know how you're feeling about the show or talk to us about any of your favorite players or any of your favorite teams, you can do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or connect with us on Bluesky or Instagram at ATBPod. Very excited to talk about the season on those platforms and just continue to increase awareness of women's hoops because it is so damn entertaining.
Whoa.
Sorry, getting a little spicy here as we close things out. Before we talk about the Liberty, there were a couple of random news things today. Do you want to talk about the GM survey?
Yeah, sure.
Probably worth it to talk about some of those interesting topics. So every GM throughout the W, and every league does this, was given a survey of like different topics and asked to answer, and then they pooled the answers, pooled the responses, and gave a percentage of what the GMs said. So why don't you go over some of the highlights, I guess. We don't need to do it was 40 questions, so it was pretty long, but it was an interesting survey.
No, I think the biggest people and teams that stand out here are Cheryl Reeve and the Minnesota Lynx. Very largely voted to be the team that GMs think will win the finals this year. Nafisa Collier, 67% think she'll win MVP. And then Cheryl Reeve, there's like so many questions about coaches. Who's the best head coach? Which head coach is the best motivator of people? Which head coach makes the best in-game adjustments? All Cheryl Reeve. So, I mean, these GMs think very highly of Cheryl Reeve.
Coach of the year.
Right. She was a coach of the year last year. Understandable. Obviously, Asia Wilson stood out in a lot of these, who's the best center, who's the best forward. And then Caitlin Clark was all over these answers.
Yes. A lot of Caitlin, a lot of people, a lot of these GMs saying that they would start their team with Caitlin, that Caitlin's the best point guard in the league. Like a lot of, putting Caitlin on the pedestal because they believe in her ability. And, we also believe in her ability. But yeah, it was a lot of Caitlin up front, which is not surprising in the least.
I do think, not to undermine Caitlin, don't come at me, but I do think I would have expected, because this is anonymous, less Caitlin hype.
It must be that the hype is real.
Must be.
There you go.
Okay.
I think the most interesting thing to me, the question of who would you want to start your franchise with? I believe the top 4 were Caitlin. You might have to check me on this. Caitlin, Asia, probably Paige there, and Dominique got a decent percentage of answers. Dominique, who we have not seen play W ball, but there was a lot of belief in Dominique. There was an interesting question that who would be better in 5 years between Paige and Dominique, and it was 60% Dominique. Dominique. So there is a lot of belief in what Malunga is going to bring to Seattle. And if I were a Seattle Storm fan and I was reading this, I would be so gassed up. Like I would be thrilled that like we have this opportunity to get this, what these GMs think is a generational player.
Yeah. And like this one's interesting. It says who is the best international player in the WNBA. Tied for second place is Dominique Malunga.
She hasn't even played a game. Well, but the answer is Jonquel Jones.
Correct.
Who? Why don't we just start talking about the New York Liberty? I think that's a perfect place to pivot.
Yes. I will say Jonquel Jones was voted first in that category. Leonie Phoebish also received some votes.
Interesting, New York. So the New York Liberty, the last team that we have to talk about here. The champions, they reached the mountaintop for the first time in their team's history this past season after beating Minnesota in 5 games in the final. Let's start with the departures because there are a number of pieces that left for different reasons. They lost Ivana Dojkic. They lost Kayla Thornton to the expansion draft, selected by Golden State, a very good player, the one that I thought was maybe Golden State's best selection in that expansion draft. They also lost Courtney Vandersloot, who signed with Chicago, returning home where she had played for 13 or 14 years. And we should say that they also lost, especially as of yesterday, confirmed Benijah Laney Hamilton to injury for the season, suffering a meniscus injury in Unrivaled. Let's unpack all that. Why don't you go through that list of departures?
I guess it's not 100% confirmed that this was from Unrivaled.
But it was a non-W injury.
They've said non-WNBA injury. She came into Unrivaled in the middle of the season because lots of players there were experiencing injuries and they were just kind of reaching out to anybody like, do you want to play for a couple games?
Please.
To hold us over.
Please help us.
So Benijah was one of those players. She was incredible in the 2 games she played.
Very good.
And then she seemingly got hurt.
Right.
While she was there.
Right.
So very unfortunate that she has to sit out this WNBA season. And something that kind of really sucks about the current CBA is the Liberty can just say, oh, we're not paying you this year.
If you get hurt with the team, then you get paid. But if you get hurt without the team, we're going to suspend your contract and you're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
However, we have double checked and there have been articles written about it, but due to the injury insurance policy that Nafisa and Stewie very smartly put into their contracts for Unrivaled, it looks like Benijah's full $185,400 salary this year will be paid because she got injured at Unrivaled.
So her W salary that the Liberty chose to not pay her.
Correct.
Because she's hurt.
Well, chose to. The part of the rules, they don't have to pay her or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can they, if you know this, can they pay her if they wanted to?
I'm sure they could.
I guess you would just keep her on the roster.
Right. But yeah, I get it. You have the option to not have her there when you know she's not going to play the whole year. Yeah, that's what you do.
Right.
It shouldn't be an option, but there it is. So her W salary that has nothing to do with Unrivaled, Unrivaled is saying, we will cover that for you.
Which rocks.
That is so nice. I love that.
It is.
Hopefully that's the future of the WCBAs. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I know NECA's going to fight for that.
Just caring for players.
Right.
How can they say, oh, sorry, you're not getting any salary this year?
Yep.
That's
weird.
Wild.
No injury assurance there.
Right.
But I will say, by suspending this significant contract, the 5th biggest contract on the team's books at the time that she got hurt, it does afford this New York team the ability to do or to be flexible as far as financials are concerned. We have seen now, confirmed as we record this, that 12 players will be on their starting day roster, and they'll be relatively comfortably under the cap, meaning that they have some flexibility to make a later signature or to pick up one of these waived players and give them a more significant contract if they see fit. But it's tough. It's a big blow because Benijah was set to be, a starter, a very good player on both sides of the ball. But I think you'll see as we talk through this that things are still relatively very positive for New York. So let's move over to the unrivals. They brought in 2 players via separate trades, Natasha Cloud and Isabel Harrison, who are together, which is cool. Power of love. They brought back Maureen Johannes after a year off from the team, and they brought in a number of other players on training camp contracts who ended up making this roster. Jalen Sherrod, as well as the return of Rebecca Gardner, who was with the team last season but spent the year hurt. So there were opportunities on this roster because of the Benijah injury that some of these other players were able to make the team and that they were able to afford their salaries, because Benijah was basically 3 of their salaries.
No, it's actually surprising like how low a lot of these salaries are on the Liberty.
All of their bench.
And it's great for them to be able to fit in 12 players when lots of teams only carry 11.
Right.
Giving you a deeper roster. And these players are good.
They are good. Yeah, like we talk about some of the depth issues that some of these top teams have, like the Aces or the Mercury, and New York, who just won a championship, is basically fully stocked. And, you know, they got better theoretically. If you think that Natasha Cloud is a better, younger Courtney Vandersloot, then they did get better. So why don't we go through the starting 5 and talk about the starting 5?
Yep.
Go ahead.
So it's really all the same starting 5 as of the playoffs last year.
Right.
Instead, not Natasha Cloud, instead of Courtney Vandersloot.
Right.
So you have starting guards, Sabrina Ionescu and Natasha Cloud. You have starting forwards, Leonie Phoebish and Breanna Stewart. And then starting center, Jonquel Jones.
It's a damn good starting 5. It's the best starting 5 in the league by a considerable margin, in my opinion. I mean, we've said that the Aces are probably the second best starting 5. And, you know, if we're comparing Leonie Phoebish to Kia Stokes, let's say, as maybe the number 5 out of 5 on that starting 5, then yeah, this is a better roster.
Well, I think
a better starting 5 then.
You have to compare Jonquel Jones to Kia Stokes.
Well, yeah, if we go 1 for 1, but like I'm just saying that there are 4 All-Stars here and Leonie Phoebish. There are 4 All-Stars in Vegas and Kia Stokes.
Sure.
The 5th player, in this case for New York, is Leonie Phoebish, who is a player that I believe is going to be an All-Star this year. So we could be looking at a starting 5 of 5 All-Stars, which would be insane and probably unlikely. But I just want to put it out there that it's very possible. I think Leonie Phoebish, from what she showed us, as soon as Sandy Brondello inserted her into the starting lineup in the middle of that Atlanta series in round 1, she didn't look back. She was incredible on all 3 levels. She's got size. She can shoot the ball. She's got touch. She can defend. Very, very, very good player that they have on an incredibly cheap contract. So this is one heck of a hit by New York to have Phoebish locked in as one of your starting 5 for the next couple years, at the very least. It's like it's a really impressive pull by them.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? Yeah, I mean, we all need that. That's what Uber's all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way, so you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
Surprise bill? Need fast funds? CashNet USA can help. When you need money fast, be the hero.
Apply in minutes at cashnetusa.com and get a fast decision. All loans subject to lender approval. Speed of funding is subject to verifications and your bank's processing times.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Yeah, no, Leonie Fiebisch is 25 years old. She's 6'4", so she could be a center on any other team.
Oh, yeah. And she's big.
Yep.
But she's going to play the 3 here.
Right. Yeah, it's a very good starting lineup. It's very good.
Right. And she's athletic as well. Like, they're all athletic. This is a team that is going to be able to do basically whatever they want on offense. I mean, you were talking to me before this that, like, they want to run, Coach Brondello says that they want to run a 5-out offense. They want to be able to shoot the ball a lot. And all 5 of these players can shoot the ball a lot. Like, even Jonquel.
Right. Even Jonquel last year made or shot 4 3-point attempts per game. Made 1.5 of them.
For 35%.
So that's, I mean, enough of a threat to get a defender to her.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And there you go, opening up the floor for Breanna
Everybody
Stewart,
else, right.
literally everyone else.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, good strategy when you have a center who's able to do that. That's what you do.
Right. When you have the best international player in the WNBA, yeah, then you're probably in a really good spot.
Yeah.
And I love Jonquel Jones. Jonquel Jones is like one of my favorite player, probably one of my top 3 players to watch. She does literally everything. And
because Jonquel Jones is like, fills your void of Joel Embiid.
Oh, certainly. Like a big that can do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
At the peak of their powers, they can be like, she was the finals MVP. So she can be the best player in the league.
Yeah.
At any given moment, which, respect my guy. I know some of you are out there are going, oh, just respect my guy.
Okay, well, let's go through the rest of the lineup. John kind of already did, mentioned a bunch of these players. Maureen Johannes, who was in France last year for the Olympics, missed the whole year. She's back with the Liberty after playing with the Liberty for 3 years prior. Markeisha Davis, Kennedy Burke, Jalen Sherrod were all on the team last year. So they, have that chemistry, have that winning mentality that you need. Niara Sabally being a backup is wild. If you remember how she played in the finals last year, she was incredible in the finals run.
Yep.
And we believe that she was one of their protected players in the expansion draft.
Yeah.
Or like the Valkyries would have taken her. And here she is, like, not even the 6th or 7th player probably.
Right.
So like crazy. You have, like John said, Rebecca Gardner, who was hurt last year but is back now. And adding Isabel Harrison, who I'm a big fan of Isabel Harrison. I've always have been since last year. But I loved her on Chicago. I thought she brought good energy to that team, which was a very lackluster team last year.
Season, yeah.
The Sky.
Yep.
So I'm excited for her opportunity here. I think justice for her because lots of people were saying she wasn't going to make this team. And I think that was wild. So I'm glad she did officially today.
Agreed.
I think her and Natasha Cloud together is like you said, their love will fuel this team.
Right.
That's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So just like even the bench, you're like, wow, Isabel Harrison, Niara Sabli, they would start on other rosters.
Right.
And here they are, like middle of the bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's a really well-constructed team that is deep and young, except at the starting five, where they're exactly as good as you want them to be for your vets. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say about the roster as it's constructed. Do you want to talk about like their strengths and weaknesses here? Why don't we talk about all the strengths that we basically have?
Yeah.
I mean, you go and I'll go and you go.
Okay. So, well, first I'll say definitely a strength is Natasha Cloud joining this team. You said bringing more energy. At this point, a better Courtney Vandersloot, I think just because she's younger.
Right, a couple years younger.
Sloot is an older player.
Right.
So I do think Natasha Cloud in that sense is an upgrade here. And now her and Sabrina have chemistry together. They played on the same team in Unrivaled together, the 3-on-3 league, where, you know, you need to figure out how to work with someone really quick because you have very few other options on the court with you.
Right.
So they played games together. They are friends.
And the Phantom, we should say, weren't particularly great. However,
No.
this is not just solely on Sabrina and Tosh. But yes, it's good to have on-court chemistry with one another at any level, especially in a competitive of an atmosphere as Unrivaled was.
Like, right. Like, if you're a new player to a team, it's good that you have already played with some of these players.
Right.
So she's not really that new. That's a positive.
Yeah. Yep. That's a positive. Obviously, we talked about the size is a positive. The shooting ability of these players is a positive. The ability for them to play at a higher pace is certainly possible and a positive. The ability for them to slow it down and be deliberate on defense is a positive. They're a box of every single thing. They check all the boxes, which is why when I'm like thinking about a weakness, the only weakness that really comes to mind is that now that they won a championship, they might not be as hungry for the second one. Like they were so hungry to finally win that first trophy. And they did. And they brought it back to New York. And now, like, obviously we've just seen the Aces go back to back. But like, it is not easy in any sport to win 2 championships in a row. So you have to imagine that a player like Stewie, who has 4 national championships and 3 WNBA championships, she's might just be like kind of chilling a little bit. Even if it's like 3% less effort.
Yeah.
I would expect there to be a tick down. Just because you already reached the top of the mountain.
No, I think that's fair. I think you're right of how hungry they wanted it last year. Like they did not look back last year. They couldn't. But the finals were really a struggle. Like they really had to fight to win the championship last year because many of those games versus the Lynx could have gone the opposite way.
Right.
So in a scenario where lots of other teams are better than they were last year, I think the Liberty are also better somehow than they were last year.
Right.
But a lot of other teams are too. So you're going to need to match every single effort that you did last year, you know, in order to be able to do it again.
Right.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's why you said it. They got better. So that's why you have them number 1 in your rankings. And if you've been keeping up with our rankings, we probably said this on a previous podcast, I have them maybe surprisingly at 3. But that's not because I expect them to like really fall off. They could win more games than they did last year. They won 32 games. Now they're playing an extra 4. They could win 35 games. But I think that Minnesota is going to have a big chip on their shoulder, and Las Vegas is going to have a big chip on their shoulder. And I expect the top of that race at the top of the table to be incredibly close, maybe a 1-game separation for each team. So I feel like that those top 3 teams are very interchangeable in my mind, which is why don't come for me if you think that New York should be number 1 with a bullet because they just were number 1 on the ESPN power rankings. I had them there the majority of the offseason until I really thought about it. And
well, why? Then I'm asking you why you don't have them number 1.
Well, I didn't realize that Stewie had to get surgery. Obviously, she came back and played well in the preseason game against the last couple teams that they were playing against, one of which was the Toyota Antelopes, which is not a W
don't
team.
Hate.
No, I'm not going to hate, but it's a different level of talent. And, just because she looked good in a preseason game doesn't mean that she's necessarily like 100%. She could be 95%. But like, there were things about her game in Unrivaled. She was playing hurt, but like, I don't know. I just feel like they could maybe have a tough time getting Tosh exactly installed early on. Maybe in the first 10 games, they kind of struggle to figure it out. They lost to Connecticut in a preseason game. Now, I shouldn't take that for a lot, but they might have some things that they need to work out before they're at the height of their powers. Minnesota is exactly the same team. Las Vegas added Jewel and lost KP. So they're going to, it could be a very similar situation there. I'm not hating on New York.
Okay.
I just wouldn't be shocked if they had 34 wins and Minnesota had 36 wins and Vegas had 35 wins. I'm just saying that that's just how my gut says.
Sure.
And they still are certainly a championship tier team. They're going to compete for a championship. That is no question. That's just how I see it.
Well, I also will say this team, New York, might be one of the most affected by the Eurobasket.
It's a good point. Which could hurt them for 2 weeks in the middle of the season.
Right. Lots of European players who I'm not positive, correct us if I'm wrong. I'm not positive if these players have said yet if they're going over to play in Europe during Eurobasket. Lots of other players on other teams, particularly like the Seattle Storm, like Gabby Williams, Dominique Malunga, they have already said, no, we're not going to play Eurobasket.
Right.
But I haven't heard that, I don't think, from Maureen Johannes or
Leonie
Phoebish.
Phoebish and Niara Sabli.
Right.
Right.
So that, if they lose those pieces, that could definitely hurt them.
Right. So, because theoretically you're going to lose a starter, you're going to lose your backup point guard, and you could lose your backup center. That's significant. Like, these aren't end of the bench players. So, wouldn't be shocking if they lost a couple in that 2-week stretch.
Yeah.
Just because they're down a couple players. So, I'm just keeping expectations level for this team. And I do think they are very, very good. And I do love Jonquel Jones. So, like, she deserves to win a second championship.
Yeah, she deserves a second
And
MVP.
Tosh deserves a ring as well.
Yes. And Isabel Harrison deserves a ring.
Prince, her dog, deserves a ring. Love that little guy. That's all I have to say on New York. Anything else to add before we close it out and welcome the 2025 WNBA season?
Anything else? I will say, if you're new around here, you have a fun season ahead of watching Big Ellie.
Yes, Big Ellie.
Look out for Big Ellie on a runway. Manifest that for us. She got a new do.
Yes,
got a
new
new
do,
look.
nails.
So I'm excited to see Big Ellie in her arena.
Yep, fully glammed out.
It's Big Ellie's arena.
It is.
They're just playing in it.
They're just playing in it. Exactly. She's the star of the show. I echo all that. Love Big Ellie. Well, like I said at the beginning, if you would like to reach out to us and let us know anything you'd like us to discuss in the pod, player, team, whatever it has to do with W, you can do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or connect with us on Bluesky or Instagram at ATBPod. 5-star rating and review helps grow the show. Subscribe to our YouTube, all that good stuff. But Kristen, I'm staring at the baseline, and what are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the baseline. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back so soon talking about the new WNBA season.